Hi, I'm Ren.
I'm Sam.
I'm Tosh,
And
we're
we're
the
the
T
Swift
Swift sisters.
Welcome back to the T Swift Sisters podcast, a Taylor Swift fan podcast for Swifties by Swifties. I just want to start today's episode by saying we hope that those of you who celebrated Thanksgiving had a memorable day with your loved ones. We're so grateful for so many things, but this year we find ourselves extra grateful for your continued love and support of our silly little pod. In today's episode, we're joined by Kyle Mumma, the creator of Swift Alert, to discuss the app that's blowing the Swiftie world by storm, breaking down everything we know about the Swiftie cruise sailing from Miami next fall, and the Eras Tour concert at home. Here's this week's Swift Scoop.
All right. So our first story is a Taylor Swift fan-led 4-night cruise is setting sail from Miami. It literally set sail the day after Taylor's last night in Miami. So I cannot imagine a better way to celebrate going to Eras. So it set sail October 21st, 2024. The cruise is hosted by travel agents Jessica, Nicole, and Shelby by Marvelous Muse Travels. And they are also a group of besties and Swifties just like us. So we got to support them. We love it. They are going to be working with Royal Caribbean to plan Taylor events every night of the sailing. So far what they have is a welcome cocktail party, friendship bracelet swapping. I'm sure that'll be like all over the cruise. A themed dance party, themed karaoke's, Taylor Swift trivia, and nightly Eras outfit themes. Can you imagine going on this cruise?
Yes, and I want to call you out for a second. I've been waiting for this moment literally since I saw this on our show notes that I sent this cruise in the chat like a month ago and nobody answered me.
I truly don't remember seeing it.
I literally sent it. This cruise is the Allure of the Seas, the Royal Caribbean Allure of the Seas, with a 4-night sailing, double occupancy. It sounds absolutely amazing. So I'm glad that we're sharing it with you guys, since maybe one of our listeners will want to sail with me on this cruise.
Because it's not going to be me, obviously.
It's obviously not going to be you or Samantha, because literally crickets in the chat when I sent the link.
Wait, the way that I truly don't even remember, like, I don't recall ever seeing it.
I literally
I'm really sorry.
I sent the link and like the eyes emoji, this one, the eyes looking to the side, and then nothing. Crickets. I was like, okay, so I guess we're not doing that. No sisterhood retreat for us. It seriously sounds like a fantastic cruise. The only thing that I will say, I don't want to like be kind of deceiving in the news that we're sharing about it. It is a regular cruise. So the sailing, the Allure of the Seas, what is it, a 5-day cruise, I believe, a Monday to Friday.
Yeah,
that will have regular people on board. Not saying that they're not Swifties, but other guests will be on board. It's not like a Swiftie takeover cruise like your Impractical Jokers cruise. That makes sense.
Yeah. Like there's gonna be themes of Taylor Swift throughout the ship, but there could very well be non-Swifties on the ship.
Right. So like expect when you're sailing on this cruise to have like the regular Lido party, right? Will be a regular Lido party, but at the same time, you might have with your little Swiftie group a friendship bracelet exchange on deck 7 at 2 p.m. kind of thing. Yes. So it's definitely like you're sailing, but also doing Swiftie things, which might not be a bad thing necessarily, because if it becomes too overwhelming for you, or if like the setting is too intimate and you prefer doing something else, you do want to go to the sail away party instead of a friendship bracelet event. You are still able to do those things, which makes it nice. You know, you're not like tied to one thing the entire time you're sailing.
You can pick and choose.
Yes.
Right, what Swiftie events to go to.
Right, your own itinerary.
We also don't want to lead our listeners astray and for y'all to just think that like you can go on and book it right now, because staterooms and reservations are currently waitlisted. But if you want to learn more about it, or if you want to join that wait list, it's a really long website, so I'm not going to say it, but literally just Googling "in my cruise era," Marvelous Muse Travels, or like Taylor Swift cruise, Miami, things like that, it'll pop up. It's just a cute little thing for y'all to check out. And I feel like there's no better way to celebrate Eras Tour Miami than to do this.
Yeah. And hello for our listeners. We're obviously minus Tosh. technically.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you like 75% Charlotte, 25% Miami, even though it's definitely not, but that's what we'll call it. We're from Miami, so who knows? Maybe we are able to get on this cruise. Maybe we'll see you at the Eras Tour here in Hard Rock Stadium if we are able to get tickets ever. But I think it's definitely a fun way to spend the weekend, especially if you're coming from out of town and you kind of don't know what to do in Miami. This is a great way to wrap up the weekend. Maybe you fly in on Friday, enjoy the concert on Saturday or Sunday, and then head out on this cruise. I believe it's a Bahamas cruise, so it should be going to Nassau, Coco Cay, really fun spots. We're definitely cruise people, so if you have any questions just about the cruise itself and the itinerary, not the Taylor Swift stuff, hit up our DMs. Happy to answer them always. Definitely a fun story to share, so thank you for sharing that, Tosh. And we'll have to have a little offline conversation about our attendance on this cruise.
So sorry. I don't associate with that Tosh, the one who ignored that text.
Our second story for today is like the hottest news topic of the week. I am so excited to share that Taylor Swift shared on Monday, November 27th, that the Eras Tour concert film will be available for rent starting December 13. So the film that will be available for rent will actually be a little different from what we saw in theaters. It's now the extended version of the concert film. That's what's going to be available for rent on demand in the United States, Canada, and additional countries. It's not specified yet what additional countries those are. I know some of our listeners are not from the United States or Canada, so we'll have to see how that works for our international listeners, fans. But I have my,
Inkling, suspicion.
Yes, inkling or suspicion that Taylor's going to make sure that her international fans access the film 100%. So according to USA Today, the extended version will include Wildest Dreams, The Archer, and Long Live. What the heck happened to Cardigan? It still got cut.
Disappeared. Yeah.
It still got cut. Do you think it might have to do with the whole the incident where during Cardigan she was like, you know who you are, I love you?
She mouthed that. Maybe Cardigan is now the end credit song and it's replacing Long Live.
How are they going to do that actually? Because the end credits with Long Live is so iconic.
I don't think it would stay Long Live, right? Maybe it will. I don't know.
Maybe it will. I just think that it works so well. Maybe, you know what? Maybe a good song for that would be The Best Day.
Oh, that would be cute.
That's cute. I think that could work for that as like a replacement for Long Live. I don't see any other song that would work for, definitely not Cardigan, unless like on the screen the friendship bracelet now comes out to, you know who this is about, I love you.
Oh my gosh, stop.
The movie will be available to rent on Apple TV, Vudu, Amazon Prime Video, Xfinity, Google Play, and YouTube. So if you got a smart TV, you can probably access one of these apps. I don't think that you have to actually be like a user for any of them. As long as you kind of just go in and pay the rental fee, you're able to see the movie.
I just have one question. Why can't we buy it?
Yeah, I was going to ask you that too. I don't understand either. Like maybe we're entering this period right now where it's only available for rent and then it will be available for purchase ? Okay. Because I need to actually buy it. Like
right, no, 100%. The fact that it was at our stadium, it needs to be owned.
Yeah.
But also, like, is it gonna maybe only come out on DVD or like Blu-ray to buy and not like digitally? I
feel like it would be digitally to buy and not DVD or Blu-ray, because the digital purchase is like what people do these days. But like I want like the little gatefold and like the little crinkling of the plastic box when I rip it open and get my disc. Like I need that. I need it to have a place on my shelf. We haven't covered it yet on the pod, but rumors are circulating that Reputation Stadium Tour will be taken off Netflix. I don't know how much of these rumors I believe. It is a Netflix original. And this is why I'm thinking like maybe the Eras Tour film will be released as a DVD. Like maybe it's a bundle. How cool would it be to sell? Okay, this is another pitch for my hiring of Taylor Nation's marketing team.
Give it to us.
a DVD bundle of all of the DVDs of Taylor Swift's concert films.
Yes.
So the Fearless, Journey to Fearless bundled with the Speak Now, bundled with There Was No Red concert film. I don't know why, but the red music videos are of the concert. So maybe they compile that. Like maybe there's a red film somewhere that was just never released. The 1989 World Tour film, Reputation film, and Eras Tour in a collector's DVD box.
Oh my God, that's such a good idea.
I know. I don't care if I have them all individually. I will pay the $150 to have
For
them for the bundle.
To hear the crinkle of you taking out the DVDs.
Yes. And to like, you know when you have like the DVDs that are 2 DVDs and they have the flap thing?
Yes, I mean, it's like a book and you're like, next.
Like, what personality am I going to have today? 2009 Ren? No, I'll do 2014. Like, I love it. I love it.
Wait, I love that. I love that so much.
Can you imagine?
And it's like the Era's film, like, but it on film, the eras of her life on. Wow.
But yeah, I don't know if Rep is actually going to be taken off of streaming services. Rumors also have it that the film will cost $19.89. And when you rent it, it'll be for a 48-hour period. So if you
$19.89 for a 48-hour rental.
Yes, that's what the rumors are saying. I know. It's a little frustrating.
It's a lot.
It's just a rumor, although like the rumor is coming from the Today Show segment that aired this morning saying that the Taylor Swift concert film was coming to like an at-home near you, whatever.
I hope
that's the only thing that has said that it was $19.89 to rent. So
yeah.
I'm going to say let's take it with a grain of salt. Maybe they just said that, wanted to see the feelers because people are definitely talking about it.
Yeah.
And then they'll like adjust accordingly. But I know the Barbie movie was so expensive to rent.
Was it really?
It was so expensive to rent because I was like, I'm waiting for this to actually come out on demand, like on HBO Max or whatever, because I truly can't afford to pay $25 to rent this movie when it was cheaper to watch it in theaters.
I'm just thinking like, is that indicative of how much it's going to be to buy? So
like if it was $19.89 at the movies, $19.89 to rent.
Is it $40 to buy?
I was gonna say, is it $19.89 to purchase?
Oh no, but you'd think purchasing is gonna be more.
Yeah, purchasing is gonna be more. I'm gonna say $35 for the DVD. That's my guess. $35 and like 89 cents or something. Oh, wait,
maybe it'll be the age
turning this year.
Yes.
I think she turns 34 this year on December 13th, so maybe it's $34.89, and with taxes it's an even $35. Do you think Eras is going to be on Netflix? Because I think Taylor's done with Netflix. Like after the Ginny and Georgia incident, she was like, F you guys, I'm done with you. Well, she didn't say I'm done with you, but she was like, F you guys, like you worked with me, you know that I deserve better than this, whatever. So I'm wondering if like, let's say she goes with Disney Plus, right? Because she had the Folklore Long Pond Studio film there, and then Disney is the parent company to ABC, who produces Dancing with the Stars. Last week we had the Dancing with the Stars Taylor's Version episode, the tribute to Taylor Swift, which is on Disney Plus. So what if it comes off of Netflix, because it is like, it's like produced by Netflix, whatever, or like directed by Netflix maybe, but it's like produced by 13 man, like Taylor's management thing. So I wonder if she owns it, like she has the rights to it, and then she uploads it to Disney Plus instead.
So you're thinking it's like her, like if Reputation is coming off Netflix, it's like her choice?
Like her choice, so that she can move it to the streaming platform that she works with now, and she'll put it on Disney Plus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you mean. What about Miss Americana? Is that the same?
That's a Netflix original, I think. We just did some research, and Reputation Stadium Tour is produced by Taylor Swift Productions. So that means she probably has the rights to it, probably owns it, which means that I think she'd be able to take it off the platform. Miss Americana is owned by Netflix, produced by like, I think a Netflix production company, and it's a Netflix original. So I think it would stay on Netflix. Like they don't typically take those off. I think Reputation is distributed by Netflix, so it kind of changes the game a little, especially knowing that it's produced by Taylor Swift Productions.
Okay, so it would make sense then if the rumors are true that this is the case, that it would maybe be moving.
But I hope that it's not just being taken off and that it's moving. Like if it's just being taken off, I'm going to throw like a hissy fit, especially if I can't purchase it anywhere. Like at least if you're going to take it off, let me buy the DVD.
Right.
Maybe the Eras collection is a digital collection, all of her DVDs. On Disney Plus, we have a Taylor Swift collection, and now we have Folklore in there. We have Journey to Fearless. We have Speak Now, Reputation.
I could see that.
Like a Taylor Swift profile on Disney Plus, and she's like, okay, I'll give you all of these movies that I have of me, and then we'll release them like simultaneously. Like we'll do Fearless first, blah, 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 and then we'll finish off with the Eras Tour concert film.
So it's like the bundle you were talking about, but digital.
Yes, a digital bundle. So no crinkling. I mean, but maybe they'll offer it for purchase anyway.
The crinkle will be there. It must be there.
If not, I'm going to make my own crinkle. I'm going to be like, well,
as you click play, yes.
Play Disney Plus and be like,
flipping up pages of a book instead.
I think that's a possibility. I feel like
I hope it just stays maybe, unless like it is going to be like an online collection on Disney Plus.
Yes, like that's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like I'm okay with the rumor if we're getting like that it's just moving or going to live somewhere else.
Right.
Or I'm just going to be upset like if the rumor's true and it's gone. So we'll see. We are joined now with Kyle. He's the creator of Swift Alerts, and we are so excited to have you on, Kyle. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
We start every guest interview with just a couple of fun run-of-the-mill questions. When you became a Swiftie, what made you a Swiftie, your favorite era, if you attended the Eras tour?
So my name is Kyle Mumma. I've been a Swiftie since high school. So my high school girlfriend was a Swiftie before me, admittedly. I was in high school from 2006 to 2009, so right in the debut and Fearless eras. I remember her taking me to the Fearless tour, and I didn't know a ton at that point, but, was kind of into it, pretending not to be into it. She and I did not work out, but I then continued to listen to Speak Now when it came out and kind of found my own Swiftie journey from that point. So I've actually been to every tour, including the Eras tour. Was at opening night of the Eras tour with my wife and my sister, and had a great time. And so I've been a Swiftie for, I would say, 15 years now.
That's like right around the time that we also became Swifties, and I also went to the Fearless tour. It's amazing to see like how much has evolved, but also stayed the same at a Taylor Swift concert. Love that. Yeah, I love that. So what's your favorite era?
I would say at the end of the day, I'm a 1989 person. I believe very strongly that the bonus tracks on 1989 may be like the best three tracks, like the best 3-track segment on any album. I'm a huge Wonderland fan. Maybe not the most commonly proclaimed favorite song, but if you go to my Taylor Swift rankings on Spotify right now, that's in the top spot. That's been one of my favorites for a while. So 1989, end of the day, probably my favorite era. I went to that show twice. The second time I went by myself because I couldn't find anybody to go with me. And I sat in the top row of the stadium, and I had a boot on my ankle. And so I remember crutching up the stairs by myself to go to the show for the second time. And I was like, what am I doing here? And I had the greatest time. I was next to I was probably 10 years older than the girls who were sitting next to me on either side. And they were probably like, who is this dude? But I had a blast. So that's 1989 always has a special place in my heart.
I love that.
We were also in one of the last rows in our arena for the 1989 World Tour. We talk about it often on the pod, just how high up our seats were, that like you don't even know if it's Taylor Swift down there, but it doesn't matter.
Could be anybody.
You're having the time of your life. That's all that matters. So talk to us a little bit about your app, Swift Alert.
Yeah, so it was over the summer sometime. I mentioned I went to opening nights. We were there in Glendale, and then continued to kind of follow the tour, and I was watching different live streams, and I would tune into a live stream not really knowing, what time it was or when certain things were happening. And so that was kind of the initial exposure to the idea, but I didn't really put it together until I started to think about the fact that the tour was going to travel around the world, right? And so we were going to be having all these different time zones, and that, I started doing the math of okay, what time are the surprise songs going to start in Poland versus in Tokyo versus in Singapore. And then one morning I was listening to the Every Single Album podcast with Nora Princiati and Nathan Hubbard. And I remember Nora mentioning, wouldn't it be cool if there was an app that just told you when certain things in the show were going to happen? And I work in the software space, I work in product. And so I started thinking about it a little bit, and I was I actually think you could make that, and it could be pretty interesting. I bet people would use it. And I went for a walk that morning with my wife. We were walking our dog, and I was I think maybe we should try to build this. Yeah, we probably walked for an hour that morning and talked about it the whole time. And we both, every 5 minutes or so, we would kind of look at each other and be this could actually work. This could actually be a thing. And so it was one of those things that started off as kind of a joke. And then the more she and I talked about it, the more I was let's actually try this and see what happens. And so we built it. We hired an engineer. We built it. We launched a kind of beta test version during the Mexico City shows, which just truly to just make sure it would work at all. And those shows were, I don't know, I was probably up until 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, waiting for the end of those shows to make sure everything worked well. And we probably had, I don't know, 50 users generously at that point in time. And I remember kind of sitting there one night as the show was ending, being all right, I'm sitting here with an app that sends alerts to 50 people. Why am I even doing this? And then we kind of took the information that we got during Mexico City and some of the user feedback that we got, and did a big redesign of it before the Buenos Aires shows. And that weekend, it just kind of caught some fire on social media, and suddenly we went from 50 users to 1,000 users to 100,000 users in 24 hours. And it's just kind of continued to take off since then. And obviously, as you all know, the Swiftie community is just incredibly supportive and will, embrace anything that helps further the enjoyment of Taylor Swift. And so it's taken off from there.
How did you feel when you saw it getting so much attention from Swifties? I'm sure you felt some type of way.
Yeah, it was a really cool moment. I remember messaging with the guy who's been developing it with me, and he was "Oh, this is crazy. We have 1,000 users." And I was yeah, it's crazy. And then, 10 minutes later, it's "Whoa, we have 10,000 users." And then it just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. It was surreal. When you start to think about those numbers, it's a lot. It's wow, we did that. And now I can look at our user map, and we've got at least one user in almost every country around the globe. I was looking at it. I was looking at it yesterday. We got thousands of users in Australia and Japan and the US and England, and we've got a handful of users in every country in Africa. And it's just a cool thing to see how truly global the support of Taylor Swift and the Eras Tour is.
Can you tell us some more features of the app? What was your intention behind it? What did you really want Swifties to have almost in the palm of their hand with the Eras Tour and the updates in the app itself?
Yeah, so we started with obviously the alerts, right? So we had some switches. You can turn on a switch for the eras that you want to be notified about, or for the surprise songs. And I think we had a calendar in the original version as well. And so the goal for the calendar really is helping with those time zone conversions, which we know are hard, right? So you can, no matter where you are, if you're in Japan or the Netherlands or wherever you are, you open it up and it's got the times in your local time zone. Then we have the alerts. So, if you want to see the surprise songs, or maybe, last night we were all clowning about Reputation a little bit. You might want to tune in for the Reputation era. We can give you those alerts when that thing is happening. We've got the live stream page that you've mentioned that we've also now added other links to. So we can link out to, yesterday, whenever that was, we linked to a Cyber Monday sale that we heard from a bunch of people who who say, without you and your alert, I wouldn't have gotten all this stuff that I got, which is really cool to hear, right? That it is actually allowing people to have a better experience with the artist. We've now, based on user feedback, added some of the more popular fan accounts so folks can look through a news feed and see those. We've added trivia quizzes to give you something to engage with and share with your friends in between shows. We've added the ability to put a countdown in for your show. So if you're going to the show, next year in Miami, you can put a countdown, and every time you open up the app, you see that countdown front and center. So, the community has latched onto this thing so well that we've been able to get all of this cool feedback from fans, and can just continue to implement those things. So what started as, hey, we'll send you an alert during the live shows, has turned into a bunch of other things based on what people want to see. Oh, the surprise song tracker. I forgot about that. We have the surprise song tracker, which now links out to live versions of all of the songs. It's obviously going to show you what's been played from each album. We are going to work on a little redesign of that based on Taylor's announcement last night that she's going to open up all the surprise songs again in 2024. So that might look a little different when you open it in a month or two. But yeah, lots of different stuff in there for fans to use.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
It's like a hub for Swifties basically in the community. That's really cool. It's seriously a really unique app, and I love that. And I know that it's definitely evolved over time, but I want to ask you, and it could be a yes or no question, but do you have plans for the break basically from now that we're on Era's pause until February to kind of evolve the app a little? Are you going to change anything? Is it going to be the same user experience?
We are definitely going to continue adding and building. I can address this because I know it's a hot topic on the Swiftie community. We did start charging for certain parts of the app, and we've told people really from the beginning the reason that we did that is software is really expensive to build and maintain, and we want to continue to be able to add features and build something that people really love. And we're fortunate that a lot of the community has really latched onto it and does really love it. And so we are in a position to continue to invest in it and support it. Whereas if we had just put it up for free, I certainly wouldn't have been able to afford to continue developing it and supporting it. It was pretty expensive for my wife and I to do in the first place. And so has been, would have been really challenging for us to do this without the support of the community and the continued feedback of the community. So we do have quite a few ideas in the hopper that we're starting to work on. We're going to meet as a group tomorrow and think through, what the most important things are that we want to put in there before the shows start back up in February. So if you all have ideas, feel free to throw them at me. We can talk about them now. We can talk about them after the podcast, whenever you want. But we've gotten some really great ideas. I mean, the countdown, the show countdown, the addition of the piano and guitar icons in the surprise song tracker, the ability to link out to merch drops, the quizzes, all of those are ideas that the community came up with. So the more feedback we get from you all, the better we can make the experience.
I think it's awesome because it's way more than Era's tour. You're making it about just being a Swiftie, which makes it that more meaningful. And you said, we have to pay a little bit now to use certain features, but it's so much better for thousands of us to pay $1.99 than for you to pay, thousands of dollars. You're creating something for us. So it's really the least that we could do.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, it costs thousands of dollars to build software. And the hope was maybe we can add $1.99 worth of value to your life as a Swiftie. And if not, the calendar, the live stream links,
right,
the quizzes, the news feed, alerts for things like merch drops, those are still free for all users to use, right? So if you can't afford $1.99, or if you decide, the concert alerts aren't worth $1.99 to you, no worries. There's still plenty of functionality in the free version. But again, fortunate that a lot of the community has decided that it is worth it to them. It was also important to us to, you may have noticed when you log into the app, there's no you're not putting in your email address and where you live and all that. We're not taking your information. We're not feeding you ads. My intent was never to figure out how we could take advantage of the Swiftie community monetize this as much as possible, right? We could probably make a decent amount of money on it, charging for ads if we wanted to, and capturing user data, but that was just never of interest to us. It was always about how can we support the community, enhance the experience, and that's what we're trying to do. Just
because I'm curious, like what work do you have to put in when it's concert day? Like, are you literally like awake, keeping up with it and sending all these alerts? Like, how does that work?
So we have a small little crew. It's not just me. It's me and my wife and a friend of ours who are, obviously there are a lot of user requests to respond to. And we've fortunately heard from a couple people on social media that we're like very fast and responsive with customer service, which we appreciate because it's not like we have a big call center. It's like us in our living room. There's that piece of it, just making sure, if someone's alerts aren't working or if something's not happening the way that it's supposed to, that we can respond to that. And then we always have somebody who's watching the show and they're like, we've got kind of our system right for the alerts that we expect are going to happen. But if there's one thing we know about the Eras Tour, anything can happen. So we want to be, if there's a 8-minute champagne problems cheer, we might have to make some adjustments. Or if she decides to add, long live to the set list, we might have to make some adjustments. So those are all things we have to be ready for as they happen during the show.
What can a user expect when they're using the app?
So you're gonna get on it for the first time, and on the homepage, you're gonna see some of the fan accounts that we think are maybe the most informative, and you're gonna see Taylor's account. You're gonna see Taylor Nation. So if you want to scroll through some of that social media content, you can. That's been another cool thing. As an aside, we've heard from fans who have said, "Hey, I really don't love being on social media all the time, so it's nice for me to have a place where I can just get some Taylor Swift news without having log into my own Instagram or Twitter account," which has been cool. So that newsfeed on the home screen, we've got quizzes there on the home screen as well, so you can go take a reputation lyrics quiz or a quiz about Taylor's Grammy records or whatever it is you want to test your knowledge on. Share those results with your friends. You get a fun little image when, depending on what score you get, Taylor will either be really happy with you or kind of sad, depending how well you do. Then you can jump over to the alerts page, which is like the main button on the home screen. That's where you can set alerts for any of the eras in the show. You can set alerts for general concert news now. So that would be things like outfit changes or anything crazy that happens during the show. Those alerts then are going to send you a notification when it's time, right? So if you turn on your red era alert, you're going to get a notification that says, "Hey, Taylor's entering her red era." You click that notification, it's going to take you to our live streams page where you can go jump into a live stream on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, Discord, or YouTube. So we are always trying to find live streams that are working and good quality, and we've got a couple live streamers now that we have partnered with pretty consistently who are always putting up good product, and then they're letting us know, like, if they're not live streaming that night, we won't put them up, just now that we've gotten to know them a little bit.
Right.
And then there's the surprise song tracker, so you can go in and see what she's played, what's left. If you are thinking, like for me, when I was there on opening night, she played Tim McGraw on the piano, right? Maybe I want to go listen to what Tim McGraw sounded like live in Glendale. I can go click on that song, see the link to the live audio of it, or just scroll around and see what she played when, if I want to try to relive some of those moments. So lots of different stuff you can click around to when you get in there.
I definitely have to go back and watch some of the surprise songs from like the shows that I was unable to attend or was crying while watching the live stream, so I couldn't enjoy it.
Right, or it took too long to find a good live stream for.
True. So before we wrap up here, last thing is basically, how can our listeners get the app?
Yeah, so we are in the App Store on iOS, and then we are in the Google Play Store on Android. So it's available on any device. Just go search Swift Alert and you'll find it. If you want to follow along with our social media silliness, we're at Swift Alert _13 on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. So you can come check us out there. We've got links to the app there as well. So find us kind of no matter where you are or what kind of device that you're using, and let us know how we can make the experience better. We're truly interested in feedback because we're just trying to support the community here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kyle. Thank you for sharing all of your information about your app. It's amazing, honestly. I will say for myself, as a user, I love it. And I'm so thankful for the work that you and your wife and your small team have put into it, the dedication. And I really appreciate you joining us tonight on the podcast. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks y'all for having me. Appreciate it.
That about wraps up this week's episode of the Tea Swift Sisters podcast. We were joined by Kyle. Super fun to have him on. I just want to say thank you again, Kyle, if you're listening back to this episode, for joining us on today's episode of the pod. Before we log off, I just want to give a quick update on Demi. If you guys were season 1 listeners, we had a little bonus episode where I spoke with Demi's dad about her heart condition and her being in the hospital. She's a Swiftie just like us. She's only 13 years old and she has the biggest hopes to meet Taylor Swift. She was in California since May getting treatment for her condition that she was born with. But I am so pleased to share that she made it back home right before the Thanksgiving holiday. She got to spend Thanksgiving in the comfort of her own home. And now she's in recovery and still hoping to meet Taylor Swift. Somehow they kind of have a new hashtag trending. It's called TS FaceTimes Demi. So we'll share Demi's dad, Danny's profile on our platforms. And if you guys can go find his pinned post and comment hashtag TS FaceTimes Demi so we can help Demi meet Taylor Swift. A little Swiftie's dream. If we can help make it come true, that would just be everything. So please, please, please do that. And with that, please remember to follow our podcast on your listening platform by clicking the plus button next to our show and give us a rating. Follow us on social media for live TS news updates and so much more. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Tea Swift Sisters Pod or Twitter at Tea Swift Sisters. I also want to loop in here our guest from today, Kyle. Swift Alert has their very own social media channels that you can follow them at, interact with them if you want to use that, talk to them besides downloading the app. They are at Swift Alert _13 on all social media platforms. So just search that and give them a follow. Don't forget to download their app. It's amazing that you can actually have the free version or the paid version. If you want to have the free version for a little bit now until Era starts up again, that's definitely something that you can do. Still interact with people, the community, take the quizzes, all of that fun stuff. So that's super exciting. But that's about it. So thanks for savoring this week's Swift Scoop. We hope you've had your fill of all things Taylor Swift, and we'll see you next week right here on the Tea Swift Sisters podcast. Bye.